It's hard to comprehend the level of unseriousness that's going on in DC, except for the fact that we do this all the time, right? We see it, and I would guess I would argue that the rest of America sees it. They see a DC, and they see Congress, and they see our government, and they go, these people are incompetent. But that's normally just like some kind of hip check gut reaction, almost like a hipster reaction. What are you supposed to say? Government's great? Lousy bunch of crooks, and whatever else they do. This coming out with, Trump's guilty. Trump incited a riot on January 6th. My gosh, we got to go right after him. The week before Christmas? The week before Christmas? You got nothing. And I didn't even ask if you like Trump. Liking Trump is completely an unnecessary thing to do at this stage of the game. You don't have to. I couldn't force you. That's fine. A week before Christmas, you're going to be like, the indictments are going to come. Oh, yeah, it's clear. Yeah, he pointed people to the Capitol and said attack. No one's paying attention. No one thinks this is real. They've already made their decision about Trump. They've made up their mind about Trump. But the left, obsessed like Glenn Close, will never stop because they believe that this is the Achilles heel. That's the disconnect. The disconnect isn't actually a bug. It's a feature of where this party is. And this party is in the place of everything connects to Trump until the day all Republicans are gone. I don't know if Americans will long stand for that, because I don't know if Americans are willing to accept the idea that that's more important than everything else they're seeing. Now, you could say to me, Tony, didn't the election prove that? No, the election proved to me something much different. Welcome to the show, presented by Americans for Prosperity, americansforprosperity.org. Economic freedom and free speech. These are things that I like and that make me happy. You will never, of course, get me to deny that vast amounts of the American public, they only pay attention to things that create anger. They only want to foam at the mouth and be disgusted. We can say this of a lot of people, and they might say it about you and about me. Is January 6th the thing that matters? Well, if we were to ask someone like, let's say, Liz Cheney, yes.
Evidence of this can be seen in the testimony of President Trump's own White House counsel and several other White House witnesses. No man who would behave that way at that moment in time can ever serve in any position of authority in our nation again. He is unfit for any office.
I could see Donald Trump getting reelected before you, Representative Cheney. And, I'm talking about Democrats, but at this stage, what does it matter? Representative Cheney decided that this was a hill to destroy herself on. She didn't move anything. She didn't create a better conversation. She could have stayed a Republican, possibly stayed in leadership, because you would have liked the way she voted on a great number of things and still said, I thought Donald Trump was wrong on January 6th. But to do this is madness. To be part of this committee is madness, and it moves absolutely nothing. Great. Donald Trump's unfit. You needed a committee to tell me this? I've got dreaded D. Rose. They're so scared of Trump. Dems have to convince conservatives he's wrong for their party. That's not it. Now, this could get me some people giving me some backlash, and I sleep fine. This isn't it. Vast numbers in the Republican Party, conservatives at large, have said Trump is wrong, and that's it. We're done. Not that his policies are wrong. He's not the guy that we want going into 2024. Too much baggage. We want to win. That's it. It's not even personal. It's a business decision. It's just business. All right. That's all it is. And there are people say, how dare you? Well, I dare. Trump's not my guy for 2024. I say it very, very clearly. I don't even say it with anger. I have argued on my radio shows now for 2 years. You need to learn the lessons of Trump, how to fight from Trump, how to push back from Trump. You don't necessarily need the guy, because if you need the guy, that's a conversation about idol worship. And idol worship is freaky. I'm not interested. I don't want any part of it. But Liz Cheney actually engaged her own level of idol worship, because what she did is she decided to say, this guy is the answer to everything that ails you, meaning he is all of the ails. And if you just get rid of this, everything else will be better. She doesn't understand that the Democratic Party hates her. The progressives have shown you that they hate you. The progressives have shown you they'll do anything to destroy you. Just take a look at the Twitter conversation that's been going on for the past month. Have you not learned? It doesn't matter, Representative Cheney, what you do, the left will hate you. Adam Kinzinger. How much more could Adam Kinzinger have done for the Democratic Party? And all the Democratic Party did was district him out of his district. They redrew the lines so he couldn't have a district to get reelected to. He didn't give up his job for what's good for America. The Democrats drew him out. This is what happens. He doesn't want to admit that. Instead, he wants to go along with this committee. Sure, you're just really a committed guy. No, you decided that somehow this had value. And then maybe you realized it didn't have value. And at that point, it was too late. You had already put yourself in this silly camp. Now, I ask you, Trump can't be reelected. Trump shouldn't fill any office. That's what Representative Liz Cheney said. It's a week before Christmas, and you've noticed that the price of eggs has gone up, and milk and butter. Which one matters more? It's the week before Christmas. Now, I'm Jewish, right? I don't celebrate Christmas. But I've heard that people, they spend a lot of time in the last week before Christmas buying toys, and they're on the hunt for toys. They've made movies about this scenario. So which one are you more worried about? Trump running in 2024 or the toys you can't afford? But the disconnect that the Democrats have is a feature, not a bug. They want to be disconnected. They want to be singularly focused. Why? Because this way they can say anything that you do, oh, well, that's just Trump, or you're afraid of Trump. And it's the entirety of their rationale. Anything that happens is a way for them to say to you, because they disagree with you, Trump, as if somehow that Pavlovian response will then end the conversation. That's how they used racist, by the way. Racist was a Pavlovian response conversation. If you disagree, you're a racist, and that was meant to end the conversation. This is the same exact thing that is happening. Benny Thompson, he is running this fine committee.
To cast a vote in the United States is an act of faith and hope. When we drop that ballot in the ballot box, we expect the people named on the ballot are going to uphold their end of the deal. The winner swears an oath and upholds it. Those who come up short ultimately accept the results and abide by the rule of law. That faith in our system is the foundation of American democracy. If the faith is broken, so is our democracy. Donald Trump broke that faith. He lost the 2020 election and knew it. But he chose to try to stay in office through a multi-part scheme to overturn the results.
He didn't stay in office. But let's talk, Representative Thompson, about breaking the oath, the faith with the American people. Let's go back to the IRS, not allowing Tea Party groups to get tax-exempt status, 501c3s, whatever the case may be. Let's talk about Lois Lerner. This wasn't some rogue agent in a Cincinnati field office. This was the IRS, Barack Obama's IRS, utilizing itself as a cudgel against free speech, against those in the Tea Party who said we have too much spending going on. Faith was broken. Why didn't you care? The FBI was working aggressively with Twitter and other social media groups to keep certain people from speaking. Why don't you care? How about the CDC and the lack of faith we have in their telling us about health-related issues when it was clear they were moving in a political fashion? Never mind the Department of Justice working to try and ensure that certain teachers' unions could tell parents they're domestic terrorists. And oh, by the way, your kids can't go back to school because they're going to get these teachers killed. The faith has been broken for a good long time. You think this is about Donald Trump? No rational person thinks this way. Now, what you're going to tell me, as James did here on Rumble, this is the most transparently partisan hearing I've seen in my lifetime. No one is taking this seriously unless they have a single-digit IQ. Well, you and I would agree about that. This is radically partisan, this January 6th committee, and no one should take it seriously. But it's not about taking it seriously. It's about it happening. Of course, this isn't a hearing. When they bring these so-called experts in or others in to testify and there is no cross, it's not a hearing. It's all madness. It's all for show. It's banana republic silliness. Some people might utilize the terminology of kabuki theater, whatever it is they decide to do. I can't stop them from utilizing the terminology. But is it fake? Is it false? Is it nonsense? Of course it is. But that, again, is not a bug. That is the feature, because the substance of the issue is inconsequential. What matters is you continue to say Trump bad and say this person, this person, this person, this group, these people aligned. Create the Pavlovian response. Everything that I just brought up, that Representative Benny Thompson doesn't engage, doesn't discuss, whether it be the IRS, whether it be the FBI, whether it be the CDC, whether it be the DOJ, that's facts, logic, and reason presenting themselves. And the objective of the committee, of the Democratic Party, of those Trump haters who are, well, they're fetishists at this stage of the game, aren't they? It's a freaking fetish when you're still talking about Trump. The only thing that you're missing is a ball gag, which, by the way, I'm not anti-ball gag. My safe word is lollipop. I'm saying lollipop. I'm saying that this is a fetish. That's where we're at. But the purpose is to get the Pavlovian response. Everything I did bring up is factual, logical, reasonable, rational, one worthy of conversation, but it doesn't matter to people who aren't interested in conversation at all. There's no interest in the conversation. Now, we note that there's really no interest in these hearings in the slightest. People are not interested in what's going on January 6th, and why should they be? It's 1 week before Christmas. And if it wasn't for Chief Justice John Roberts, the Supreme Court, we would have Title 42 gone. Title 42 is about allowing the opportunity for the federal government to deport people or keep people out of the country because of a health-related issue or pandemic-related issue, a la COVID. You get rid of Title 42, you have people pouring across the border even more than they already are. No rational person would get rid of Title 42 if they didn't have something in place to deal with the massive influx, a way of saying no to those people who illegally want to cross into the United States. We simply say no. No more of this gotaways. No more of the destruction of El Paso, Texas. Somebody needs to stand up for these people. El Paso, the mayor there is trying, a Democrat. The Republican governor, Greg Abbott, is trying. But it's clear that the Biden administration doesn't care. This has a chilling effect on the totality of America. This is a subject we should be focused on. Instead, they're focused on January 6th. Not a bug to them, a feature. But what's interesting is look at how they discuss how no one's paying attention.
Ben Collins, I've been watching as you've been scrolling through all the various social media sites, True Social, InfoWars, Reddit. What are you saying about this executive summary, this meeting?
A lot of scary stuff about the microchips and the vaccines, but not a lot of stuff about Donald Trump. InfoWars, actually, if you look up the word Donald Trump on its homepage, there's no Donald Trump on InfoWars' homepage right now. It's just simply not there. And I will say, this is not the usual reaction in these spaces. They usually rally the troops. They usually try to find someone to bully or target, right? Not right now. Even on, there's a place called The Donald, the biggest pro-Trump forum on the internet. They're not talking about this. They're not talking about this at all. They're talking about Hunter Biden right now and Twitter and stuff like that.
Ben Collins, he's on the dystopia beat for NBC. And I make the argument that Ben Collins likes to create his own dystopia. He creates the terrible world and then reports about how terrible the world is. What's interesting is that he discusses, as you know, nobody in the pro-Trump chat rooms is talking about January 6th. None of these people, they usually talk about this so often. Now they're not talking about it. Interesting. America's not talking about it. MSNBC is talking about it, but America isn't, because America is talking about how they're going to buy toys for the kids, how they're going to afford heating oil in January. What do they do about this inflation that won't go away? You've got layoffs that have already occurred in large companies and small companies. You have hiring freezes that are taking place everywhere, and you have the ability for higher interest rates going into 2023. You just saw a half-point raise. Never mind what they're doing at the European Central Bank. You want us to talk about January 6th? We got real crap going on. We got things to do. And seriously, things look really bad for 2023. Super duper bad. But the Trump chat rooms aren't talking about this. I wonder what this means. It doesn't mean anything. But he says it that way to try and get you believe that the Trump people, I guess it's anybody who's not them, they are trying to ignore this serious issue. America is ignoring the serious issue, but MSNBC, CNN, and the rest want desperately to shove this down your throat to push forth the Pavlovian message. Not a bug, a feature to make this connection with anybody who disagrees with them. Because if you disagree, well, then I guess you're just pro-Trump. You're just a puppet of Trump. You're just afraid of Trump. And the lack of focus on the real issues in America is a serious, serious issue. It's dangerous. The border is a dangerous place, and it creates danger throughout Texas, throughout New Mexico, throughout Arizona, throughout California, throughout 46 other states. Just does. Can't be denied, yet we have a political party that doesn't want to do anything about it. Now, you could argue both parties haven't done enough about the border. I'll agree with you. But it is obvious when the party in charge is the Democratic Party, they don't care about this at all. They're okay with an open border. They're okay with the CDC lying to you, with the FBI trying to silence you, with the DOJ calling you a domestic terrorist. These serious, serious issues that have had massive implications on the American people. I do not deny that a riot took place on January 6th. I don't even deny that I think Trump should have done more to stop it. I have said so. I won't lie to you. I'm not about to start right now. But who cares if you think Trump's fit for office? January 6th didn't have to happen. You'd have people saying Trump's not fit for office. My God, just look at the ladies of The View. But this disconnect, because that's what people are going to say. The left is disconnected. It's more than that. It's purposeful. Nothing about the January 6th committee is about finding out information. The purpose of the January 6th committee is to destroy anybody they possibly can to help them in the future. Now, I know what you're saying. You already know this. I agree that you already know this. The question is, what do you do about the millions of people out there who don't? What do you do about these people who are being told that the thing that matters to them, whether they're living on the southern border or whether they have to deal with these illegal immigration issues, or whether these are people who have been silenced in social media or in their jobs, they had their job threatened. If you don't get a COVID vaccine, you'll be fired. What these people need to be reminded that the January 6th committee is a farce and a failure and theater, and that their issues matter. I don't know if the Republican Party is smart enough to remind people that their issues matter. I don't know if they have the skill set. I mean, it's the Republican Party. They've never shown themselves to be that particularly bright. Will they create their own committee? I don't know. Maybe. They said there was it Representative Biggs? Was it Biggs? He was going to subpoena all the hearing information. Maybe. Should they put out counter narratives? Yes. Like, for example, where was the security? What was the responsibility of Speaker Pelosi? What possibly was the responsibility of President Trump and others? Give that story, but start countering the narrative right now. Start pushing people into a level of discomfort on the Democratic Party and start reaching out to all those people across the country who are dealing with these real issues. I don't think you should focus on January 6th as a day-by-day thing to refute every point they make. I think that's a fool's errand. I think you got to focus on the things really affecting Americans. Then go about exposing and explaining things that took place. That may work for some, not all. The all is where you help them lower their energy bills, afford the food, and afford toys for their kids. That is how you make a better America. That's how you get votes, too. But don't forget, what's happening with this January 6th committee has nothing to do with facts. It has to do with narrative. It has to do with it being a feature, not a bug. The disconnect is purposeful. Because how could a party that isn't worried about inflation, isn't worried about the border, and isn't worried about silencing Americans, how does that party connect with anybody? Their answer, Trump bad. Now you get how it works. Guys, I'm on vacation. I know I'm still home. I won't be for long, but I'm doing the show on vacation too because I can't stop. I have a contract, but I can't stop. So we're gonna get into it. I was thinking about taking the day off, but I couldn't. And if I was repeating myself a little bit, I'm sorry. I want to make sure I'm reinforcing the points because the points matter a great deal. A great deal. Hold on a second. How can Ben be a contributor and not TK? A contributor to what? What am I not a contributor to? And Ben who? I don't know which Ben. I don't know what I'm not a contributor to. Can I tell you, I had a whole, I'll get into this week. I had a whole thing about whether or not I should keep doing punditry on cable news. Should I keep doing Fox Hits? Should I keep doing News Nation Hits or Newsmax Hits? I'm going to get into it. But we've got more videos coming up, and don't forget to subscribe on Rumble. And my thanks to Americans for Prosperity, AmericansForProsperity.org. Greatly appreciate them. And everything is at Locals. TonyKatz.locals.com, TonyKatz.locals.com. Right there. Let me see. Did I get them all? Yeah, I think I got y'all. Guys, I'll also catch you tomorrow. Y'all take